Why working with investors is important? Well, John said it a little while ago. You want a client who's going to work and buy over and over and over. And as an investor agent, you know this. You know that you're here to build empires because you're building an empire yourself. And you want to help other investors do the same thing, building their empires so that, one, they're happier. They can spend more time with their family and their friends and do whatever they want with whoever they want, whenever they want. And two, it builds a great career because now you only have to hang out with 20, 30 people tops. And those people are buying houses every single year. And in some cases, like John, every couple of months. And that's really the best kind of relationships. If you've ever been a realtor and wondered, wow, that investor is so loyal to that realtor. Why are they so loyal to that realtor? How do I get into work that position? And you talk to the investor and says, no, I only work with this realtor. They've been with me since the beginning. And that's how all investors and investor agents work. We create a loyalty by over delivering, creating so much value, so much service that in the end, when the investor is super savvy, has all the network, all the realtors want to work with them, they stick to the realtor who helped to build them, to help get them to that point. Because at that point, all realtors are about the same. Hey, put it on the market, sell it for me. And so an investor who's built a good relationship with the right agent will stay loyal. And that's what I believe most agents are missing. And so what do investors want? They want off-market deals. They don't want to pay top dollar. They don't want to buy things on MLS. They want to sell things on MLS. Yes. Investors in the room, hands up if you want to sell on MLS at top dollar and buy off MLS at bottom dollar. Yes? It fits the criteria of the investor. Buy low, sell high. And so as a real estate agent, this is what they train you as. When you come into the business, the first thing they tell you is call your friends, tell them that you're a realtor and it's time to go and get some business. And in the beginning of the business, they say all your friends are going to be buyers because you're new to the business, you're not going to have listings. And so you got to go out there and tell everybody you're in a business, and that's how you get business. And eventually it's referrals. And it's a referral-based business, and the people who are training you are living off of referrals, but they've been in the business 10 years, 20 years. I don't know if you're like me, but when I started, I wasn't willing to wait 10, 20 years to build relationships. Anybody on the call less patient than that? Want to build this business in a year or less? Excellent. Good. You're in the right call. So I decided I'm going to go learn from people who have done what I'm looking to do. Build the business quickly. Find all the investors and add value to them so they can do more business. And as I started asking, I noticed investors wanted off-market deals. And so what does any good realtor do? They learn how to get off-market deals, right? Or at least that's what they should do. Instead, they follow the path of, well, I'll just keep telling everybody, buy house with me, buy house with me, sell house with me, sell house with me. But the people who are willing to sell their house cheaply are not in the same places that realtors are typically looking. Realtors are typically looking on Facebook. They're calling their friends and family. Friends and family are not the right people to sell a house at a discount for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Friends and family, you kind of want to get top dollar for. You like those people, right? So it ends, unless you're in a situation where all your friends and family are in a desperate situation, which, by God, like you'll be the luckiest realtor, right? You're going to help them all out. They're going to be so happy. If you build a relationship with a whole bunch of people who are terrible financially, well, one, you're the average of the people you surround yourself with, so be careful. And two, eventually that will run out. And so you've got to get good at marketing. You got to get good at finding these deals. And it's actually simpler than it looks, but you got to get out of that realtor mindset and into the wholesaler mindset. And now this is hard to do because most investors, as soon as they hear wholesaling, they think that must be illegal. Most realtors, as soon as a realtor hears wholesaling, they think must be illegal. You can't do that. I want you to just, for a moment, ignore the concept that wholesaling might be illegal. Focus on what they do for a living. They seek out motivated sellers. Forget the contract piece, forget the assignment clause, and just focus on what a wholesaler's job is. 99% of what a wholesaler does is find off-market deals. They're hunting off-market. They're going not where you're going. Like an investor, and John Eustace, Dorena, you can back me up on this. The thing I can't stand the most as an investor is when an agent says, hey, you looking to buy property? And I say, yes, I am. Of course I am. And then they say, cool, what's your email address? I'll put you in an MLS and you'll see all the stuff coming through. Dude, this is not my first rodeo. I am not looking to buy an MLS. What I'm asking you for is off-market deals. And then they say, yeah, sure. What's your email address again? And you know what's about to happen. You're about to get dropped in the MLS drip feed, and you're going to get a bunch of high-priced properties that everybody else sees, and there's a lot of competition on them. What an investor realtor does is says, what specifically is your search criteria? Specifically, what is your search criteria and what do you pay per unit? They don't ask you for a pre-approval. They ask how you'll finance the deal. Yes, finance the deal. Will it be hard money, private money? Do you have equity? If you're a newer investor and you don't know the financing options, yes, your realtor should be able to walk you through those financing options. It should not be, hey, go get a pre-approval and come back. That makes sense? I think most investors, after the first house, that doesn't work anymore. Hey, go get a pre-approval. It's time to, that's one house, one and done. But getting to your second house, your third house, your fifth, your sixth, financing gets a little different. Fair to say, investors on the call? Excellent. So a good realtor knows how to get you the money, knows how hard money works, has a list of hard money lenders in their phone, knows how private money works, can teach you and connect you with an attorney who can do the promissory notes. They understand how hard commercial lending works. Because if you, as an investor, you want to eventually get into the bigger buildings. Everybody wants to get bigger buildings. Good. As a realtor, bigger buildings mean bigger commissions.
Bigger commission.
Fair to say?
Yeah.
So we've got Mike Shine, the holistic attorney, on the call. If you have any questions about how to get private money, hard money, how to get those contracts written up, Mike Shine is an excellent attorney who is, we call him the holistic attorney. He knows the process. He is working with wholesalers all the time, working with agents all the time. He's working his way to almost 50 closings a month. He hasn't hit it yet, but his goal in his company is to add so much value to the investor community that he actually has to hire another paralegal in his office because he's doing so much business. And it's focused on investors. It's focused on helping people build their empires. And just like finding an investor agent, it helps to have an investor attorney. Mike, you own rental property?
Yes, I do.
5 buildings?
Say that again?
5 buildings?
Yeah, 5 buildings, exactly.
North Kingstown, East Greenwich.
Yep, Newport. Yeah.
And so who do you want to work with? Who do you want on your team? A realtor who is an investor-friendly realtor knows an investor-friendly attorney. Does that make sense? Excellent. Excellent. So adding value the entire process. Now the realtor can connect you with the money. The realtor can connect you with the right attorney, and the attorney knows how to write the contracts. And now when you get into marketing is where you spend all of your time. As an investor, as an agent, you ask your investor criteria. And these are the criteria. What do you typically look for? Is it 3 families? Are you looking for single families if you're doing flips? What market, like zero in, what city are you looking for? What have you bought in the past? And this is an important question as a realtor. What have you bought in the past? Do not underestimate the person in front of you. This is not typically and you really want to, this question works both ways, right? If they have never bought anything and you say, what have you bought in the past? They say, oh, nothing really. This is my first one. I'm really learning a lot. That gives you a clue that it's time to start teaching. It's time to take them into teaching mode, not just set them up in MLS. It's time to start asking some questions about the money. It's time to start asking questions about what are they on bigger pockets? Have you checked this article out? Start sending them valuable information. You can send them any of my stuff. I've got a ton of free material out on YouTube and Alchemist University, gualtermarolo.com. Check it out and share with your investors so that they can start leveling up. By being the person who gave them information, they will stay with you. Just like the elephant, you train them when they're small, eventually when they're large, not going anywhere. Does that make sense? Excellent. So going to the piece about if they have closed the deal before. John, how many deals? 1 property already? More than that?
So I just bought. I used to buy property back in my early 30s, late 20s.
Yep.
I got myself in trouble. I let money control me at that time, but it is what it is. So now, I just bought another one in Woonsocket. I like the Woonsocket area.
Nice.
I know the area. So I bought one in March, but I'm the one that actually picked it out, which I drive every night with my wife, Kim. Every night I drive around and I look for property everywhere. So I kind of find a lot of properties that are like abandoned, but that's another problem. I don't know who to contact with that.
Excellent. And a good realtor can give you that information. John, excellent. So you're doing exactly what we want our investors to do. So there's two sides of education. One is how to get the money, and the other side of education is how to get the deal. And a lot of investors have the desire to go and work and find their own property. They don't want to negotiate the contracts. You know, like you have your wife, you're going to have an agent go and negotiate the contract, but you have yourself to find that property. And the problem with agents is they think that, oh, an investor wants off-market deals, I got to do the marketing myself. There's no way I can do that. Now, an agent has the tools to help you out. They can build the list. They can find out who the seller is. They can send that information to you. And then every investor is quick enough to go find Spookio or White Pages or any of these online websites for finding people. You can find the phone numbers. They'll make the phone calls. And you're a busy investor. You don't want to go on the appointment. You're going to send an agent on the appointment. And so agents just have never made this connection. And so they stop right there. What you're capable of doing as an agent is teaching your investors how to actually find these deals. You can build the list for them. Go in MLS, go to the assessor's data sheet, find people who have been in their houses more than 7 years because, you know, the 7-year itch is coming up. They want to change property. They're tired of being landlords. You go into the MLS, build a list, more than 7 years in the property. You can search by all the criteria the investor gives you. Do they want 3 families? Do they want 2 families? Do they like this zip code? Do they like this city? And as you're going through and building this list, you can send it to the investor and have them go and find the phone numbers, or for short money, you can take the extra step and go to a company like datazap.com or there's a whole bunch of them out there. You can go to ListSource. ListSource doesn't give the phone numbers. You can go to, let me see. Fiverr. We have a guy on Fiverr who does skip tracing for us to find phone numbers, and we're talking 4 or 5 cents an address. So it's cheap money to go and give your investor a quality list that is curated, called, and they can now call. You can give them programs like Mojo Dialer, Mojo Sells, Call Tools. These are dialing programs so that the investor can call 100 people at a time within an hour, 100 people in an hour. So every hour they're getting through, every 10 hours they're getting through a 10,000 person list. So if the investor's list is only 500 houses that fit their criteria, they can get through this 5 hours in a week and make those phone calls and start booking appointments for you. Because that's the thing, the investor, as they're making the calls, they don't want to go on the appointments. It's too much work for them. They know half the appointments are not, they're going to be a seller who wants too much money, so this doesn't make sense to go out there. But every good investor knows what they want to pay for a house. You know what, John, you know what you'll pay for a 3-family in Woonsocket, yes?
Yes.
Absolutely. What, Eustace, you know what you'll pay for a 3-family in Fall River, correct?
Yes.
Mike, safe to say that in North Kingstown, you know exactly what you're going to pay for a property, right?
Absolutely.
And so investors know what they're willing to pay for. They'll send you on the property with an offer and with a range, with very little information. And every agent can do a CMA. Every agent can do a comparable market analysis. Any agent can go into Bigger Pockets and create an analysis of the property, a buy and hold analysis. They can create a flip analysis, depending on what type of investor you have. And it takes about 10 minutes of preparation. The investor's already booked the appointment for you. You're just creating a CMA and sending over the Bigger Pockets analysis, 10, 15 minutes of work, sending it to the investor. The investor emails you back their offer. And I suggest verify the numbers, right? Go look at them. And once you've decided your offer, you can put a range. If it's in great condition, this is what I'll pay. If it's in good condition, this is what I'll pay. If this thing is a teardown, this is what I'll pay. And have your 2 or 3 offers that you submit with the agent. Trusting the agent will go out there and do the right offer. And look, if the investor is willing to trust you to do all this, there's one reason why. The investor knows you get paid when you close. And so your responsibility as an agent is to close the deal as fast as you can. If you go and have to list it, it's going to take you 3 to 6 months to close that house. But if you put it under agreement for the agent right then and there, you can close that in 3 to 4 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks, that's a paycheck. And so working with investors is actually far more beneficial. Even if the commission is lower, it's okay because there's no buyer's agent on the transaction. You're getting both sides. And the investor's aware of this. And so you just make sure you put, if Eustace says, I'm only paying for 200,000 for 3 families in Fall River, I won't pay a dollar over that, then you know when you go to the seller, you've got to have that seller accept the price of $205,000. This way, Eustace has your commission paid in that transaction. Does that make sense? This way, yep, I'm paying 205 and 5,000 that goes to the realtor. That's a 2.5% commission, which is what you'd get on one side of a transaction anyway. And so you want the 3%, you just add it in. Now it's a $206,000 transaction. Eustace, would you be okay with adding $6,000 to a transaction you didn't have to negotiate, didn't have to go out on?
Yeah.
And we know that that agent's probably going on 10 appointments before this happens. Fair to say? Pretty reasonable to assume before you finally close the deal, they've been on probably 10 appointments. That's what I found the numbers work. A good deal is every 10 appointments. A good listing is about every 3. So the agent will be making money by going on these appointments. They'll be taking listings. They'll be doing, good service for themselves and those clients who want the top dollar. But the magic is when they get a client who's in a desperate situation. They can't wait the 3 to 6 months to list that property. They can't wait for a retail buyer. They know the property's in too bad a condition, or they just can't stand their tenants, or tenants aren't paying, and only an investor will pick this kind of property up. It's not a retail property. And so when you finally, as an agent, get on one of those appointments, it's super exciting because you've got the investor in the pocket who can close this deal. You don't have to go back to the phone. The investor sent you on the appointment. You know who it's supposed to go to. Does that make sense? So those are the best deals. You go in, you lock it under contract. It sells in 3 to 4 weeks. Investor closes, and you're on to the next deal. But here's the thing: that investor, you're now a part of their program. You're a part of their system. They may or may not buy one house that year, but their marketing campaign hasn't shut down. It's still sending in leads. All those calls they made months later are still coming back. All the mailing. So who's ever done a mailing? Investors who've done mailings before. Excellent. John, mailers are great. Mailers get you the fastest responses. They cost the most, but they send a bunch of responses pretty quickly. And what's cool about mailers is sometimes you don't get a call back from the mailer. It sits on their counter until they're ready. But they knew they'd be ready one day, but I've had one where I sent out one mailer in this demographic, and 6 months later I got a phone call, and it ended up being a listing. 6 months later from one mailing. This wasn't a repeat mailing. It was just I sent it, they put it on their pile of paper, and eventually they sifted through that paper and said, I'm calling him. And then I went out and I took care of the seller. So it's this marketing campaign still going even after the investors bought their house. And here's the thing. You can speak from experience, Eustace, Mike Shan. As your campaign is still running, it inspires you to buy more property, right? When you get sellers calling you, you're like, you know what?
Yeah, absolutely.
How could I finance this deal? Whoa, this is a good deal. How could I do this? And so by helping an investor maintain that marketing campaign and being a part of their system, you as an agent are going to pick up more listings. There's a saying in this business, you got to list to last. The more listings you have, the more marketing you have. Agents spend so much time on social media. They spend so much time calling their friends and family instead of focusing on the one activity that brings in all the business. Listings. Find people who want to sell their houses. That house goes on MLS all across every website in the country. And then buyers come in, they call you. Buyers literally call you to go and look at the property. Does that make sense? I think that unfortunately the disconnect in this business is that realtors are not trained to service investors. Realtors are trained to, at best, service retail buyers. And I understand why. Retail buyers make up in population about 90% of the marketplace. But when you look at how much real estate is actually purchased, real estate investors own 80% of the property. And so it's easy to look at and say, oh, wow, I'd rather work with single family homes. I'd rather work with retail buyers. There's just more of them. Well, unfortunately, yes, there are more of them. And they're far and few between. They're spread out. They're all over the place. Whereas that one investor will own as many homes as 10 of those people and close faster and be much more reasonable with how they negotiate with you. They understand the process. You're not training them every single time. You train them once, you connect them with your attorney once, you connect them with your lenders once, and then from that point on, it's yes or no. Yes or no, pass, pass, pass. So it's about teaching your investors how to find deals. And the other side, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a little bit of scarcity in the marketplace. And by scarcity, I mean realtors think that if they taught you how to find deals, that you would cut them out of the deal. Realtors actually, I know. Realtors actually think that you want to be on appointments. They think you want to be out there every day. Hey, yeah, so this nice house, pretty house. So what, can we bring the price down? Can we bring the price down? Like, they don't understand the investor mindset. Like, the investor's making money doing something else. We're investing our money. We're putting our time somewhere else that makes us a lot of money per hour, and we're investing our money to make us a lot of money passively in passive income. We don't want this to be a second job. Anybody on here agree we don't want this to be a second job? Excellent. So, hands raised like true investors. We want the realtor to do their job, which is basically customer service. Hey, I got a guy who wants to sell his house. He's available Tuesday at 2. Can you make it? And we want a yes, right? We want a yes on the other side of that, and then get an email later that says, here are the pictures of the house. This is the condition. They accepted or didn't accept your offer. Do you want to counter? And like, that's the conversation we want to have. Fair to say?
Hey, Walter, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
That's what I kind of a realtor investor I want. I want them to call me and say, I have a property for sale. You want to take a look at it? But
Exactly.
they're hard to find. I get a lot of, well, I'll put you on the email like what you were saying, but that's not what I'm looking for. If you see a property out there, I'm ready to buy now.
And that's what this is all about. They're not out there. You have to train them. You have to build them. And it's really about training your agent to understand the process of going on these appointments and getting you lists. You'll do the marketing piece, because the marketing piece is an investment. Money spent, boom, it's done, right? You can easily hire a virtual assistant to make all your phone calls for you. You can easily connect with a wholesaler to make all your phone calls for you. You can easily go and send out a mailing campaign. None of these things take a long time as long as the realtor gives you the list, that you're looking for, and now you can set up all these campaigns. And it takes a couple of hours sitting there clicking on the mouse, and then for the next 3-4 months, all you do is click purchase again on another mailer, or pay the virtual assistant again to start making dials. So it's or you partner up with a wholesaler, and yeah, you're paying a commission to the agent, and you're paying commission to the wholesaler. So $5 grand, but you bought a deal that's going to make you 50 grand or 100 grand. I'm okay with paying 10 grand for, the combination of getting a deal to me. And so sometimes we partner up with wholesalers who are going to do all the calls for us, and they're motivated because we pay. That makes sense? Excellent. So long and short of this is, if you're a realtor right now and you really want to service your investors, there are 2 things that you must learn now. One is how to get the money. The funding is private money, it's hard money, it's commercial loans, it's residential loans, it's money brokers, and understanding how to do the residential mortgages in a way that is more creative for your investors. When you can't get the loan on your own, and this is a side note on this topic, the first thing a realtor says is, oh, well, call me back when you get pre-approved. The first thing a mortgage broker will say is, do you have somebody who can co-sign for you? And that really needs to start with the realtor. The realtor really has to say that first and say, look, do you have somebody who could co-sign for you? And have you ever considered partners? Have you considered partnering with somebody who does have money? And of course, most investors early in the business will say, I don't know anybody. And that's when you connect them with somebody like me or Mike Shine, who are willing to partner up with people, because we don't want to do the work. We just want to collect the money and put things into motion. And so realtors, 1, teach your investors how to get the money. And 2, teach your investors how to get the deal. We know that agents are important for negotiations. We know agents are important for going into appointments, for taking pictures, for being able to negotiate down for us. We know that there's a whole process and contracts that we don't want to do. And so we're willing to pay a small fee to have that stuff taken care of for us. So top things to learn: how to build a list, what criteria that your buyer wants, and then hand that list to your seller. Teach them how to market if they don't know the process. If they don't have call tools, they don't have Mojo, a dialing program, you give it to them. And if they never worked with a mailing company that does mailers, you deliver that to them. Yellowletters.com or postcardmania.com. These are easy resources to say, hey, this is how we do it. Take the list, drop it in, design your mailer however you like. Google the ideal mailers or send them a template. Say, hey, this is a website. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'm going to write a blog post. This will make it easier. I'm going to write a blog post on the ideal mailer that's worked for us in the past. This way you can go right to that and you can share it to your realtors, and nice and easy. Keep it all simple so that you can share it with your investors, not your realtors. So, and for investors, you can share it with your realtors, right? And so a really ambitious realtor will actually do the marketing themselves. They'll go out, they'll do the marketing, and then they'll call you with off-market deals or take listings. An agent who's new to the business and doesn't have the funds behind them to go and do the marketing, well, then you teach your investor how to do it and encourage your investor to spend $1,000 or $2,000 to build a marketing campaign, and just put your phone number on there so that the investor doesn't have their phone blowing up. In this way, everybody wins. Guys, gals, investors on the line, this makes sense? Would this simplify? Would you work with a realtor who did this for you? I agree. I agree. So Dorina does do this. She's on my team. She does do this. She actively builds lists. She actively educates investors. Every Monday at 5 and every Friday at 5, we have a Zoom call. We call it the Wholesale Mastermind, Finding Motivated Sellers, the Cold Calling Party. We have a whole bunch of different names for it. But at the end of the day, what we're looking for is off-market deals. We spend the whole night, 3 hours, cold calling sellers. So you can listen to us. You can jump on, listen to us. You can jump on and meet some of our wholesalers who are cold calling. You can let them know what your criteria is. Mike, you've built quite a team doing this, haven't you? Oh.
Yes. You
got Ryan McGovern out there who's working hard for you. You've got a couple of other agents and wholesalers who are out there
making calls. Yeah.
And
well, some of them are taking the summer off.
The real hustlers are still calling. So we'll get those guys, get people in the funnel.
Absolutely.
And Dorina's working on getting 100 wholesalers in that call. She's working on finding 100 agents and wholesalers who are willing to do the work first and get paid later. To go out, build the relationships, hunt, find the deals, and then get paid on the closing. And so there's a lot of wholesalers out there willing to do it. It's just a matter of giving them the training, giving them the education, giving them a network, a place to hold them accountable. And that's what Dorina has built with the Wholesale Mastermind, is a place for investors and a place for agents and a place for wholesalers to learn how to find motivated sellers. Pretty cool. Every Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and every Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're on the phones. We're on a Zoom link. I'll post that in the notes underneath this. And Monday is a little different from Friday. Monday, the first 30 minutes to an hour is a lesson. So how to build lists, how to get skip trace numbers, how to use call tools, how to use Mojo Dialer, how to do mailers. And then on Friday, it's boom, 15 minutes of motivation, and let's get on the calls. And so we get on the calls on both days, but the first hour on Monday is more of a training session for newer wholesalers. And it's a refresher session for agents, wholesalers, and investors alike. Value? Yes? I'd say so. If you're interested in learning more about anything that we're doing, shoot me a text or send me a message on Facebook. We're looking to hire more agents who are investor friendly, not just any agent. And Marcia, I got to get you over. We shifted over to EXP. So we're looking, and the reason we did that is better systems, better commission splits, and a better network for referrals. So we have far more people we can work with in this model. And we're looking to bring on a couple more realtor-friendly, investor-friendly realtors, because right now we have 750 investors in our database, and we're just not servicing them. In fact, I just teamed up with a team in Worcester, and not in my brokerage, literally just handing them leads. Just saying, hey guys, I'm too busy. Can you work with my investors? And this team, I've trained them for the last year and a half. I've gone up, I've trained them how to work with investors multiple times and done one-on-one calls with a few of them. And they're good at working with investors. So I'm okay with working with certain agents. And we get a little referral fee. Is it cool that I get a little referral fee for hooking you up with the right agent? I think so. Those come out of your pocket. So it all works out. And that's what we're looking to do. So if you know an agent who could learn more, who wants to be a better investor-friendly agent, have them connect with me, have them jump on this call. I do this every week, every Wednesday at 6 p.m., teaching agents how to work with investors. Today, we were talking about off-market deals. Next week, I'll probably shift it to the value of a CRM, how to plug in and connect with more people. And the reason that it makes more sense to work in an investor-friendly brokerage that will allow you to leverage all of the tools and the network that we have put together in Alchemist Real Estate Group. That said, any questions? Questions, concerns? Did you get value out of this conversation? Excellent. It's great having you guys on. Tonight is the Boston REIA is actually doing a unique event where they're learning how to find money. It's on at 8 o'clock. I don't know if I'll be doing it on Facebook Live, but I can share the link on my Facebook page in just a little bit. But I'll be hosting that call. We're bringing in a professional. They're going to be talking about how to finance money, how to find money, credit scores, how investors should be prepared to have the hand-on conversations and to get the money ready for the deals, how terms change, such like that. Sound interesting? Excellent. I agreed to do it because I thought it would be valuable. And well, because they asked nicely, so why not?
That's tonight?
That's tonight at 8 o'clock, yep. So another hour.
Okay.
Very good. Any questions? Any comments? Excellent. I want to thank you all for being on the phone. John, good to see you again, my friend. Keep Kim busy. Mike Shine, I appreciate you always supporting us, coming out here and supporting the community. Eustace, thank you, sir. I love the conversation. The beginning helped add value, create a conversation. Marcia, I know you were here the whole time. I love seeing your face. I will see you soon. And Dorina, thank you for staying on the road and still tuning in. We appreciate you and all that you do for our investors, our wholesalers, and our agents. Have a good night, my friends. I will see you in the next one.